Mount Everest used to be beyond the reach of everyone but the most experienced climbers.
Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, has seen countless brave attempts to conquer its icy expanses. Yet, for all its breathtaking majesty, the mountain hides a multitude of mysteries. This compilation explores 10 such enigmatic events that have been reported from the slopes of this formidable giant. Number 1. The Green Boots Cave. At 8,500 meters in the death zone of Mount Everest, where the air is thin and the temperature plummets, there's a cave marked by an eerie landmark, a pair of green mountaineering boots protruding from the ice and snow. The boots earn the cave its colloquial name, Green Boots Cave, but this is not a mere curiosity. The boots belong to Swangpal Jaw, an Indian climber who tragically lost his life to the mountain during a deadly blizzard in 1996. But the mysterious aura around Green Boots Cave isn't just due to its grim signpost. It is also the reports of climbers that add to its enigma. They describe strange sensations and hallucinations experienced near the cave, which they attribute to exhaustion, hypoxia, or possibly something more supernatural. Some have reported feeling an inexplicable pull towards the cave, while others describe an eerie sense of being watched. These strange reports have given Green Boots Cave an almost mythic status among mountaineers. Swangpal Jaw Green Boots was a member of an ill-fated Indian expedition in May 1996, coinciding with one of the deadliest Everest seasons on record. Alongside his two companions, Swang Samanla and Dorje Morup, he fought bravely against the storm but never made it back. His body found its final resting place in the cave that now bears his nickname, a haunting reminder of Everest's deadly allure. But what further deepens the mystery of Green Boots Cave is the sporadic disappearance and reappearance of Pal Jaw's body. In 2014, climbers reported that the body was gone, leading to speculation about its removal for a dignified burial or due to shifting ice. However, the following year, climbers once again spotted the green boots, causing a ripple of unease and fascination across the mountaineering community. Perhaps the most chilling account associated with Green Boots Cave is that of climber David Sharp. In 2006, Sharp sought shelter in the cave during his descent and tragically succumbed to hypothermia, with other climbers passing him by assuming he was the infamous Green Boots. It was only too late when they realized that Sharp was a fellow climber in need, creating a chilling story of mistaken identity. The tale of Green Boots Cave serves as a stark reminder of the perilous conditions at such heights, where a single misstep can lead to a tragic end. Despite the technological advances in mountaineering gear and weather prediction, Mount Everest remains a hazardous and unpredictable frontier. The tales of Green Boots Cave have become an integral part of Everest folklore, a sobering testament to the mountain's deadly majesty and mystery. Number 2. The Ghostly Shadows of Everest. Mount Everest, standing tall at 29,032 feet, is a monument to nature's sublime grandeur. But beneath this awe-inspiring spectacle lurk enigmatic tales that remain embedded in its icy facade, including chilling accounts of spectral apparitions, the ghostly shadows of Everest. The tales of phantom climbers on Everest have been whispered among mountaineering circles for decades. These tales involve climbers reporting encounters with shadowy figures that appear and disappear in the midst of swirling snowstorms or the still, moonlit nights. At times, these apparitions have been described as shapeless entities moving in the periphery of vision, while at other moments, they seem to be fully formed humans clothed in vintage mountaineering gear. One of the most cited apparitions is that of Andrew Irvine, a British mountaineer who disappeared on Everest along with his partner George Mallory in 1924. Over the years, there have been numerous alleged sightings of a figure fitting Irvine's description appearing suddenly before distressed climbers, only to vanish just as quickly. These accounts include instances where the apparition reportedly provided guidance or comfort to climbers in distress before disappearing back into the icy void. But the ghostly tales extend beyond. Irvine in 1975, famed mountaineer Dougal Haston reported an ethereal encounter during an ascent when he and his partner were trapped in a snow hole at 27,000 feet due to bad weather. As the men lay exhausted, they became aware of a third presence, which they described as benign, almost comforting, and entirely inexplicable. And these eerie encounters aren't just limited to high altitude or in moments of extreme stress. Several Everest base camp occupants have reported unaccounted shadows moving among the tents at night, phantom footsteps heard crunching through the snow, and a general sense of an unseen presence. Skeptics, however, suggest that these sightings can be attributed to factors like hypoxia, altitude sickness, or the effects of isolation and extreme cold on the human brain. Third man factor or third man syndrome, a psychological phenomenon where individuals under extreme stress sense an unseen presence providing comfort or support, has also been cited as a possible explanation. However, these rational explanations don't quite account for the eerily similar details in these independent accounts, or for instances where these apparitions have seemingly interacted with the living climbers. Moreover, the descriptions often involve old-time climbers, making one wonder whether these specters could be the lingering spirits of those who lost their lives in the quest to conquer Everest. And so the ghostly shadows of Everest remain one of the enduring enigmas tied to the mountain. Whether they are mere illusions cast by the mind under stress or spectral remnants of fallen climbers is a question without a definitive answer, yet the tales continue to intrigue and chill those who venture onto the slopes of Everest, adding another layer to the mountain's profound mystery. Number 3. The Frozen Maiden of Kanchenjunga. While not located directly on Everest, the mystery of the Frozen Maiden is deeply woven into the tapestry of Himalayan lore and is often evoked in the hushed whispers of climbers preparing to ascend Everest. This story originates from Kanchenjunga, the third highest mountain in the world and considered sacred in Sikkim. The tale revolves around an enigmatic figure known as the Frozen Maiden. Legend has it that a beautiful woman, the Frozen Maiden, roams the upper reaches of Kanchenjunga. Descriptions of her vary, with some saying she appears as a young, ethereal woman clothed in white, while others claim she's an older, sorrowful figure. The common thread among these accounts, though, is the distinct chill that accompanies her sightings, earning her the name Frozen Maiden. Numerous climbers have reported encountering the Frozen Maiden. These accounts often detail an overwhelming sense of dread or sorrow upon seeing her, and some even attribute their survival in the harsh conditions to her, claiming that her apparition served as a warning, urging them to turn back before they met with catastrophe. The most prominent tale associated with the Frozen Maiden is the ill-fated 1925 British expedition led by mountaineer Edward Felix Norton. His team reportedly encountered the apparition at a critical point during their ascent. Norton described the figure as a beautiful young woman in white who seemed to float above the ground, her presence bringing an unnatural cold. He interpreted the sighting as an ill omen and ordered the team to descend. This decision proved life-saving as a massive avalanche hit their planned route mere hours later. The Frozen Maiden of Kanchenjunga shares an uncanny resonance with the spectral figures reported on Everest, leading to speculations that the mountains might be linked through these spiritual entities. Some climbers believe these apparitions serve as guardians of the Himalayan peaks, while others interpret them as manifestations of the mountain's spirits. Regardless of the veracity of these accounts, the story of the Frozen Maiden of Kanchenjunga is now firmly ingrained in the mythology of Himalayan mountaineering. It serves as both a haunting narrative of the supernatural and a reminder of the unyielding, often deadly power of these majestic mountains. Number 4. The Disappearing Climbers. Mount Everest is as notorious for its vanishing climbers as it is famed for its towering peak. Over the decades, more than 300 climbers have lost their lives on the slopes of Everest, and many of them have vanished without a trace, adding to the growing list of the mountain's unsolved mysteries. One of the most mystifying cases of disappearance is that of George Mallory and Andrew Irvin, who vanished during their ascent in 1924. They were last spotted a few hundred meters from the summit before being engulfed by a snowstorm, while Mallory's body was discovered in 1999, providing some closure. Irvin's fate remains unknown, adding to the enduring mystery surrounding their final expedition. And the peculiar case of French climber Maurice Wilson adds another layer to these enigmatic tales. In 1934, despite his lack of mountaineering experience, Wilson embarked on a solo climb after a secretive stay in Darjeeling. He disappeared on the slopes of Everest, and it wasn't until a year later that his body was discovered, his diary providing a haunting account of his final days. And among the more recent and perplexing cases is the disappearance of Russian climber Sergei Martinov in 2012. An experienced mountaineer, Martinov reportedly reached the summit alone, radioed his team about his success, and was never heard from again. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Martinov has been found, and his disappearance remains a baffling mystery. The tales of these vanishing climbers are steeped in an aura of mystery and intrigue. They disappear without a trace, leaving behind only questions and a growing legend on the slopes of Everest. In some instances, the disappeared climbers are later discovered frozen in their final moments. In other cases, they vanish entirely, swallowed by the mountain's vastness, their fate left to speculation. Now, there are several plausible explanations for these disappearances, including avalanches, hidden crevasses, and sudden storms, all common hazards in high-altitude mountaineering. However, these rational explanations often provide little solace to those left grappling with the loss, the lack of closure amplifying the enigma. Regardless of the theories, though, the truth remains elusive, and the disappearing climbers continue to be an integral part of Everest's lore. Their stories serve as a grim reminder of the mountain's unpredictability and the dangers that lurk beneath its majestic surface. Number 5. The Yeti sightings. The Yeti, often referred to as the Abominable Snowman, is a legendary creature believed to inhabit the Himalayas' snowy landscapes. Tales of this elusive entity date back centuries and form an integral part of local folklore. Over the years, many climbers have reported Yeti sightings on Everest, contributing to one of the mountain's most enduring and controversial mysteries. The legend took the world by storm in 1921 when a British expedition led by Lieutenant Colonel Charles Howard Berry reported finding large footprints on the northeastern slope of Everest. Howard Berry suggested that the prints belonged to a large, loping grey wolf, but a journalist misinterpreted the Sherpa's translation of Meto Kangmi, man-bear snowman, as filthy snowman, which eventually became the Abominable Snowman. Ever since the story went public, reports of Yeti sightings on Everest have been sporadic but consistent. Descriptions typically portray the creature as an enormous bipedal primate covered in hair with an ability to survive in the harsh, high-altitude conditions. Many climbers have reported strange, unexplained noises, uncannily large footprints, and fleeting glimpses of a hulking figure in the snow. And the Yeti legend was further fueled in 1951 when British explorer Eric Shipton photographed a set of large footprints on the Menlung Glacier near Everest. The prints, measuring about 12 inches long with a wide toe spread, appeared to be hominid but were much larger than any human footprint. In 1960, Sir Edmund Hillary, the first man to summit Everest, conducted an expedition specifically to search for evidence of the Yeti. The expedition returned with what was claimed to be a Yeti scalp from a monastery in Kumjung, although later analysis revealed it was made from the hide of a sero, a Himalayan goat antelope. Despite the lack of definitive proof, reports of Yeti sightings continue to circulate, adding a captivating layer of intrigue to Everest's mythology. Some suggest the Yeti is a surviving hominid species, perhaps a relic Gigantopithecus or a type of bear. Others, however, posit that the sightings can be attributed to the high-altitude environment's physical and psychological effects, and yet the mystery persists, tantalizingly out of reach. The Yeti, despite its elusive nature, has become a symbolic entity embodying the mystery, the allure, and the unexplored vastness of the Himalayas. Its legend speaks to our fascination with the unknown and our persistent quest to uncover the secrets that lie on the fringes of our understanding. Number 6. The puzzling case of Mallory and Irvin. Among the many tales of mystery and intrigue that surround Mount Everest, the story of George Mallory and Andrew Irvin stand out as one of the most compelling. Their daring attempt to reach the summit in 1924 ended in their disappearance and sparked a debate that continues to this day. Were they the first to summit Everest almost 3 decades before Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay's confirmed achievement in 1953? Mallory, one of the most accomplished mountaineers of his time, and Irvin, a young Oxford student skilled in the use of oxygen apparatus, set off on their fatal ascent on June 8, 1924. They were last sighted by teammate Noel Odell making their way towards the final ridge, the summit seemingly within their grasp. But then they vanished into the clouds, leaving behind a mystery that's intrigued the world for nearly a century. The fate of the climbers was unknown until 1999, when the Mallory and Irvin research expedition found Mallory's body on the north face of Everest, perfectly preserved in the cold. He had rope marks on his body suggesting a fatal fall, but the absence of a sun-bleached snow goggle in his pocket suggested he may have been descending at night. However, there was no sign of Irvin or the camera they had reportedly taken with them, which might have contained a photograph of them on the summit. Further investigations have added more pieces to the puzzle, but a clear picture still remains elusive. An oxygen canister found near the first step in 1991 could suggest that they had the endurance to make it to the top. On the other hand, the discovery of an ice axe believed to belong to Irvin far below the second step, a significant climbing challenge, could indicate that they never made it that far. One of the key factors in the mystery is the pair's capabilities as climbers. Could Mallory, one of the best climbers of his era, have scaled the formidable second step, a 100 feet sheer rock face? Modern climbers consider it the most challenging part of the ascent, even with the aid of a ladder placed there in the 1970s. But could Mallory and Irvin have overcome it with their primitive climbing equipment? The story of Mallory and Irvin has evolved from a climbing tragedy into an enduring mystery. The question of whether they made it to the summit is one that may never be conclusively answered. Until Irvin's body or the camera is found, their achievement can only be speculated upon. Number 7. The Mount Everest Time Anomaly. Mount Everest mysteries are not limited to its imposing slopes and deadly reputation. One enigmatic phenomenon often discussed among climbers and scientists is the so-called Everest anomaly, or Mount Everest time anomaly. This phenomenon involves reports of inexplicable time discrepancies experienced by climbers while ascending or descending the mountain. This anomaly was first reported in the mid-20th century when several mountaineers noticed their timekeeping devices behaving oddly at high altitudes. Their watches seemed to lose or gain time inexplicably, sometimes by several minutes or even hours. Even more puzzling, this phenomenon appeared to affect different climbers and timepieces differently, with some remaining unaffected while others experienced significant time discrepancies. Over the years, more climbers have come forward with similar experiences, lending credence to the initial reports. These accounts often share common elements. The climbers observe their watches while at a high altitude and then find upon their descent that the time displayed is not in sync with the actual elapsed time. These experiences have given rise to much speculation and theorizing. Some attribute it to a form of time dilation, a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity, which posits that time passes more slowly in stronger gravitational fields. Everest, being one of the most massive objects on Earth, could theoretically cause such an effect. However, critics of this theory argue that the effect would be minuscule at Everest's altitude and unable to account for the observed time discrepancies. They suggest alternative explanations, including the physical and psychological effects of high altitudes, such as hypoxia, which could affect the climber's perception of time. Others propose that extreme cold or mechanical strain could be causing the timepieces to malfunction. Despite the abundance of theories, the Mount Everest time anomaly yet remains unexplained. No conclusive scientific investigation is being carried out due to the logistical difficulties and risks associated with conducting experiments at extreme high altitudes. As climbers prepare to face Everest, tales of time anomaly add another layer of mystery and intrigue to their journey. It's a narrative that ties the challenges of the climb not just to the physical world, but to the very fabric of reality itself, adding an additional dimension to the mythos of Mount Everest. Number 8. The Man with No Name. One of the more chilling tales woven into the lore of Mount Everest is the enigma of the man with no name, an unidentified climber who has sparked a flurry of speculation and intrigue. This mysterious figure, whose existence is based entirely on second-hand accounts and scant evidence, adds a haunting narrative to the chronicles of Everest. This story begins in 1981 when a team of Polish climbers reportedly found an unconscious man at an altitude of over 8,000 meters. According to the accounts, the man was poorly dressed for the harsh conditions, wearing only a light jacket and tennis shoes. He was without any climbing equipment and, bizarrely, he appeared to be of non-Asian descent, an anomaly considering the period's restrictions on foreign climbers. The Polish team, unable to carry the man down, were left with no choice but to leave him in a sheltered spot and mark his location. Upon their descent, they reported the incident to Chinese officials, who launched a search for the unidentified climber. The man, however, was never found, and his identity remains a mystery to this day. Since then, the man with no name has become a subject of endless debate and speculation within the mountaineering community. His improbable presence at such a high altitude, coupled with his inadequate clothing and lack of equipment, paints a baffling picture. Nevertheless, various theories have been put forth to explain his presence on the mountain. Some suggest he might have been an audacious adventurer who attempted to summit Everest incognito, while others propose he might have been a participant in secretive military or scientific experiments. A particularly tantalizing theory ties the man to covert operations conducted by the CIA in the 1960s and 70s, attempting to place nuclear-powered surveillance devices on Himalayan peaks to spy on China. Could the man with no name have been part of these clandestine operations? With the actual details shrouded in secrecy, these theories only add to the growing enigma. And so the saga of the man with no name serves as a potent reminder of the human aspect that underlies the Everest experience. Amid the tales of natural phenomena and supernatural entities, stories such as these highlight the personal narratives that form an essential part of the Everest mystery. These narratives, shrouded in uncertainty and suspense, continue to captivate those drawn to the allure of Mount Everest. Number 9. The Mysterious Lights of Everest. Adding to the long list of Everest enigmas are the mysterious lights often reported by climbers and Sherpas dancing across the peak's icy expanses under the cloak of darkness. These strange lights, varying in size, shape, and color, have piqued the interest and curiosity of many, adding a layer of mystique to the formidable Everest narrative. These accounts typically describe the lights as glowing orbs or irregular, luminous shapes, often moving in seemingly purposeful patterns. Their colors range from brilliant white to various hues of blue and green, casting an eerie glow against the backdrop of Everest's harsh landscape. They appear without warning, often in the dead of night, and vanish just as abruptly, leaving the witnesses in a state of bewilderment. Theories about the origin of these lights are as numerous as the sightings themselves. Some suggest a natural explanation, attributing the phenomenon to atmospheric conditions unique to high altitudes. These include the possibility of St. Elmo's fire, a weather phenomenon causing a luminous plasma to appear around pointed objects in a strong electric field. Alternatively, they could be a form of earthquake light, a phenomenon thought to occur due to electrical activity in rocks under extreme stress. Others, however, lean towards more fringe theories, with suggestions ranging from alien activity to unknown energy fields. Some locals and climbers even ascribe a spiritual significance to the lights, viewing them as manifestations of the mountain's deities or departed souls. And while numerous attempts have been made to document the phenomenon, clear, verifiable footage or images have yet to emerge. This lack of concrete evidence has only served to deepen the mystery surrounding these lights, fueling further speculation and debate. Whether natural phenomena, optical illusions, or something more enigmatic, these lights are yet another facet of Everest's rich tapestry of mystery. They are a testament to the mountain's capacity to inspire awe, fuel speculation, and remain in many ways an enigma. Their tale, like so many associated with Everest, speaks of our fascination with the unexplained and the unknown, a fascination that keeps drawing us to the world's highest peak. Number 10. The Everest Winds That Whispers. Among the most haunting and ethereal mysteries that surround Mount Everest are the accounts of the whispering winds. These peculiar phenomena, reported by numerous climbers over the years, involves the sensation of disembodied voices carried on the mountain's fierce winds, adding an eerie spectral aspect to the Everest experience. The accounts of whispering winds are as varied as they are numerous. Some climbers report hearing what sounds like soft murmurs or hushed conversations, indistinct but unmistakably human. Others describe hearing their names being called out on the wind or snippets of music wafting in the air. Still others claim to hear cries for help or distress, often spurring them to embark on fruitless searches for non-existent climbers in distress. These experiences are often chalked up to the physical and psychological effects of high-altitude climbing. Everest's extreme conditions can lead to a host of psychological responses, including hypoxia, which can result in auditory hallucinations. The psychological strain, isolation, and extreme stress endured by climbers can also contribute to these experiences. However, these explanations don't entirely satisfy those who have experienced the phenomenon firsthand. Many maintain that the voices felt too real, too distinct, to be merely the product of their minds or bodies reacting to the altitude. Local Sherpas and Tibetan people have their interpretations, often imbued with spiritual significance. Some believe that the voices belong to the spirits of the mountain or the many who have lost their lives attempting to conquer it. In this view, the whispering winds serve as a reminder of Everest's many victims, their voices forever etched into its icy crags. Though scientifically questionable, these beliefs underscore the deep respect and reverence with which locals regard the mountain. Everest, or Chomolungma, is viewed not merely as a physical entity but a spiritual one, an abode of gods and spirits that demands respect and caution. The whispering winds of Everest continue to captivate and mystify climbers, serving as a chilling reminder of the mountain's otherworldly qualities. They encapsulate the blend of fear, respect, and fascination that Everest inspires, contributing to its status as more than just a mountain, but a place of profound mystery and intrigue. Everest's whispering winds represent the mountain's elusive and enigmatic nature, the sense of the unknown and the inexplicable that clings to its slopes. They underscore the strange, almost supernatural quality that makes Everest so much more than a geographical landmark. It's a place where the lines between the natural and the supernatural blur, where physical endurance is as much a necessity as mental and spiritual resilience.